Last month, the typical asking price in Chattanooga's luxury market jumped almost $40,000. Same month, the market got slower. Homes are taking longer to sell, and 43% of active listings have cut their price. So prices are up, market is slower, and cuts are everywhere. Those three things cannot all be true, except they are. If you're a coastal buyer trying to buy Chattanooga luxury from 2,000 miles away, this paradox is the fastest way I know to either save you money or stop you wasting months on bad inventory. Here's what actually happened. 57 homes left this market last month. Most of them were the cheaper ones. Half had already cut their price. 57 new ones came in priced higher. The average didn't rise because homes got more valuable. It rose because the cheap ones left the room. Now let's be clear. When I say cheap ones, that's only relative to the price cuts these homes made. That's the thing about market averages. They don't lie exactly. They just answer a question that you didn't ask. This episode is about the four specific places, the gap between the average and the truth, that quietly takes real money from careful buyers, and how you can avoid paying it. And I call that the stupid tax. The buyers who already understand this gap are not sitting on the sideline, waiting for more softening in the market. They know the luxury market overall is uneven. So 43% of active listings have cut their asking price. Even the flagship communities like Black Creek and the premium Hamilton County addresses. These are all starting to cut. These buyers also know that the submarket that they actually want does not move like the metro number suggests. The buyers who already understand this difference are already in motion. And they are the ones that are capturing the best of these price cuts instead of watching them go pending. This episode is about the specific things that separate those smart buyers from everyone else. I work with buyers who are coming in from the Northeast, the Bay Area, and relocators from all around the United States. These people are the careful ones. They are the ones who have already done much of their own research. And they also have a high intolerance for making dumb mistakes. And yet many still end up paying the stupid tax. And not because they're careless, but because this market in Chattanooga runs on a clock they did not know was running. And a contract that might seem backwards if you bought your last home in, say, California. Your contingencies in California stay in place until you actively sign them away. Here, they run on their own clock, and it starts the moment you sign. I'm Kelly Bridenstine. I own Broadstone Media LLC. This is an independent market education platform. And I'm also a licensed agent with eXp Realty, which is a separate thing entirely. The link is in the description if you're interested. So 4 places the stupid tax gets collected. Let's go. The first place people pay the stupid tax is on timing. Here's the table underneath that metro number. Signal Mountain is running slower than it was. 62 days now. 52% of listings already cut, and the trend line has moved up. This is with the last 4 readings. I'm researching trends in this price band monthly and even weekly to see what's changing. Now, what this table shows is not a warning. It is information. Now, let me make the other end of that table real for a second. Late last month, I pulled a listing, same price band. They were 10 acres, private lake frontage, and a private dock, built in 2021, gated. And it was under $500 a square foot. Now, on paper, that is an extraordinary asset, and yet it has been on and off this market for over a year, with 2 separate listing agreements and 2 price cuts. Dozens of people have looked at it online and even saved it, but nobody closed on it. The house is not the problem. The house is genuinely exceptional. The problem is this buyer who could certainly recognize exactly what that property is worth, a buyer who is coming from a market where this costs 2 or 3 times as much, has probably never seen it. And the reason nobody put it in front of him is because the 164 days category. And it's not a bad house. It's simply a house that never reached the right buyer. The buyer who was prepared, pre-approved, and specific on their submarket and clear on what they want. Again, a buyer coming from a market where the cost is 2 or 3 times as much. This buyer is in the best position this market has offered in years, but here's the catch. The buyer who treats 62 days or Signal Mountain's number or any single figure like he has unlimited time pays the stupid tax on timing. The difference between those two buyers is not luck. It is knowing which clock you actually are on. The second place people pay the stupid tax is inside the inspection process. You've done this before, so let's skip the part where I explain what an inspection is. Here's the part your last closing didn't teach you, because it happened somewhere else. Most buyers think they understand inspections. What they actually understand is the idea of inspections. That is the mechanics. How the clock works in Tennessee specifically, that is where the stupid tax gets paid. In Tennessee, once you are under contract, you have an inspection period. That is the window to bring in your inspectors and examine everything. The structure, the roof, electrical, foundation, plumbing, all of it. And when that window closes, you deliver a written list of items that you want the seller to address. And that delivery ends the inspection period. And then it opens with the contract calls the resolution period, the negotiation window. You go back and forth with a seller, and if you cannot agree, you can walk away. And if you walk away, you can also get your deposit back. And that is your last clean exit. Once you accept the house as is, though, or sign off on a repair agreement, you own whatever condition that home is in. No going back. I am a licensed agent, and this is the contract I work from on every deal. The buyers who pay the stupid tax here are the ones who drift past it without understanding what they just gave up. Here is a version of the stupid tax that cost the most. If you've closed on a house before, you've probably heard the phrase, waive the inspection. And what most out-of-state buyers don't know is what that specific box cost you here in Tennessee, not wherever you closed last time. About 1 in 5 buyers nationally right now is waiving the inspection entirely, signing away every right to check anything. And this is under pressure to compete. The Tennessee contract has an actual checkbox. Buyer, having been advised of the benefits of inspections, waives any and all rights under this Section 8. This box must be checked to be part of this agreement. Tennessee RF 401, version 331, 2026. That means no termite report, no mold, no radon, no roof, no foundation. Every right gone. Tennessee is a moderate to heavy termite zone, and 3 species of subterranean termite are active in this region, here in Chattanooga. In a mountain home with a crawl space and wood close to the ground, this is not hypothetical. This is what inspectors find here. And if you've dealt with termites somewhere else, here's what's different. If you came from, say, California, you're picturing a tent over the whole house and a few nights in a hotel. That's drywood termites. Tennessee doesn't have them. What Tennessee has is subterranean, living in the soil, invisible, and building a mud tube up the inside of your foundation. No tent, no fumigation, no visible warning on a windowsill. And if you come from Connecticut or New York, you may not be picturing anything at all, because winters up there are cold enough to slow down colony migration. But down here, they don't slow down. Different termite, different climate, and different risk. Wherever your experience is from, it isn't this. I'm not telling you should never compete hard. I am telling you to know exactly what you are agreeing to before you check that box. The stupid tax is not signing the waiver. The stupid tax is signing it without understanding what it says. Okay, one more. And this is the one that hits the hardest because it's the easiest, and it could have been prevented with a single phone call. Wire fraud in real estate is not rare. You already know to call and verify before you wire money. Almost everyone does. But $275 million in losses last year says knowing the rule isn't what saves you. It's still doing it at hour 11 of closing week. when everyone, including you, wants to move fast. Criminals send fake wiring instructions by email, and the timing to arrive is right before closing, when everyone is moving fast and nobody wants to slow down. The email looks like it came from your title company, and yet it didn't. The fix is one step. Before you send any money, call your title company directly on a number that you got from them before closing week ever started, not the number in the email, a number you already confirmed. Most buyers who find this channel are doing this remotely. So everything is over email, and that puts you in a high risk category. So always call first every time, no exceptions. That phone call costs 3 minutes. Skipping it can cost you everything in the wire. And that is the stupid tax at its most expensive. We've been looking at how local averages hide what's really happening in Chattanooga. And there's a second average that quietly trips up careful buyers, the national definition of luxury. It's something worth knowing before you run your own numbers. A couple months ago, Realtor.com put out a report that broke the word luxury apart. Their own economists said it plainly. Luxury isn't a price. It is a place in line. What counts as the top 10% of homes in one market is a completely different number in another. Nationally, it now takes about $1.28 million to reach the top 10% of homes for sale. That's up about $1 million before prices spiked. In the New York Metro, Jersey City included, that same top 10% line sits at $2.9 million. And at that price, the typical home runs under 2,000 square feet. Here in Chattanooga, that same line is $875,000. Same line is $875,000, and the typical home in that $1 to $2 million range runs 3,700 square feet. Same report, same method, almost double the space for less than a third of the entry price. Now, I want to be straight with you about what that number is telling you and what it isn't telling you. It's not telling you this market is a bargain nobody's noticed. It's telling you that Chattanooga sits lower on a scale that measures every market the same way. What it doesn't tell you, there are $224 million listings in this entire metro in the period that this report covers. And that's not a large number. In a market that thin, one seller, one estate, one bad week changes what's actually available in a way that a national report can't see and can't warn you about. And that's the real trade. More house for the money, fewer of them to choose from. And both are true at once. The stupid tax here is assuming that luxury means the same thing in New York and Chattanooga, and then building your plan on that assumption. Again, same report, same math, completely different reality when you're the one wiring 7 figures. Here's the simple version. The market's typical price band is your price band. Signal Mountain is running at 62 days. And if you are not ready to move when the right home shows up there, you are not going to be buying it. 43% of listings have cut price. That is not a market in free fall. That is a market where cuts are what clears it. The deep cut survivors are most often the most negotiable in this inventory. For instance, Thunder Farms with 283 days on market. Homes like the lake house I talked about that is still waiting for the one buyer who would actually recognize the worth of that home. So $224 million listings in this whole metro, that is a thin market. And this changes what is actually available. Fewer to choose from, but more house for the money. If you are the buyer who's already prepared, when the right house shows up, the inspection window has a close. And once you pass it without using it, you own whatever is in that house. So know when it ends before you go under contract. And the waiver is a real legal document. Read Section 8E before you agree to skip it. And understand the termite exposure in this region. Know what you are signing away. And the wire is the easiest stupid tax to avoid. So call the known number and do not move money on email instructions alone. Now, none of this is complicated, and all of it gets skipped. And that is exactly what makes it a stupid tax. Predictable, avoidable, and it keeps getting collected every year, every month, every day. The Broadstone Relocation Diagnostic is where buyers come when they want to run this process with someone who knows this specific market, the clock, the contract, even the situs, all of it, specific to your situation on one call. Same framework you just watched, laid over your budget and your own time window, your own short list, so that you know exactly where you stand before you're the one paying the stupid tax on any of this. And right now, cuts are clearing this market. The homes still sitting, the survivor list I just showed you, these are the most negotiable inventory available. A seller who's already cut once eventually sells, pulls the listing, or waits out the cycle. Either way, the specific window on a specific house doesn't stay open indefinitely. The buyers who are already prepared when the right one comes up are the ones who capture that leverage. And not because they guessed right about where rates might be headed, but because they were ready when the window was actually open. The diagnostic is not a sales call. So there's no obligation and there's no agency relationship created by taking it. Broadstone Media is an independent education company. If you want licensed representation at some point, that is a completely separate conversation. And all you have to do is ask for it. This is market intelligence, and it's something that most agents aren't going to walk you through. So right now, the window is open. The link is in the description. I'm Kelly Bridenstine. This is Chattanooga Curated.